Ryan, after the Michigan game, after the win, did you feel more relief or happiness?
Relief. Yeah, it wasn't even close. I didn't know what I would feel. It was absolutely relief. Yeah. To say that I didn't internalize a lot of emotions that week and leading up to that game would not be accurate. A lot went into that. And it's not just me, it's my family, it's the staff, it's this team. There's just so much that goes into that. And Jeff Hafley, he said to me the next morning, he said, imagine walking in the Woody with all the signage that's up on the walls and not winning that game and having to walk by it for 365 days and not winning that game. I said, I know, I don't even know what that'd be like. And so yeah, there's so much that goes into that. We play it year round, and so to get that win the way we did means a lot.
And then you mentioned you played opponents twice in the NFL. What kind of insight, or does that give you an advantage, or does it almost hamper you because you have so much information?
I think it's how you handle it and finding that right balance of wrinkles, but then also the things that our guys can play well, and so they can play with a clear mind. Because in the end, games like this, it comes down to players. Again, not plays. But at the same, but you also don't want to get out schemed, and so giving them a good clean plan with enough wrinkles is critical.
Front row right, Bill.
It was 1 year ago tomorrow that you were named head coach. Your hair has not turned gray, as far as I can see. Can you reflect on what this year has been like for you? Season's gone great, but what's it been like for you?
Again, I mentioned this early on. I really didn't want to reflect on this until we get through that finish line, because I just don't think that that's the right thing to do at this point right now. I'm looking forward to reflecting on it and everything that's gone on this year, but I don't think now's the time. I just really want to, get this team ready and get the coaching staff ready to go win this game.
And Ohio State can win an outright Big Ten championship for the first 3 years. The first time it's happened, a lot of shares. But what would that mean to the program to do this 3 years in a row?
I think it'd be huge. And to go win this thing undefeated would say a lot about our team. And the last couple of years, there's been that trip up along the way, and then we had to rally to go win that. I thought that said a lot about the character of the programs both the last 2 years. This one's a little bit different, and now it's more about this: can we sustain this level of play throughout this regular season and now into this championship season? So that's the challenge, and that's something that we've been focused on week in and week out. And now here we go. This is head towards that finish line, the last home stretch, and then after we get done with that, we come up for air and figure out what's next. But all our eyes are on that finish line.
Second row middle, Steven.
Hey, Coach, under the lines of beating the team twice, when you've beat the team pretty convincingly the last time you played them, so why would it be tougher, I guess, the second time around when you've beaten the team convincingly to beat them a second time? Well,
they kicked their tails the first half on offense. The defense played good, but we didn't do very good on offense. So it was a close game, and it was 10-7, right? At one point in the third, they blocked the punt. And, that's a good team. So we kind of pulled away there at the end, but that was a tough game, and we know it's going to be the same way. And they've done some different things here, and they've made adjustments, and they've adapted as the season's gone on. So this is going to be a tough game now.
Third row left, Dan.
Ryan, it's the time of a year where coaching jobs around the country start to open up, and there's a lot of speculation about who could be candidates for what. Just asking hypothetically, if one of your coaches were to come with you with an opportunity they might be interested in right now, how do you handle that in terms of balancing this focus you're trying to keep on the Big Ten championship and allowing those guys to pursue those things?
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons that you come here is to be a part of this special family, but it also opens up opportunities for you down the road, and I think that's healthy and it's good for families, and I support that. And so the one thing I'd ask is to those guys, if that situation were to come up, is just make sure we finish through this finish line first. We made a commitment to these guys, and so most people who are looking for coaches at this time would understand what that means. We got a lot of guys who want to be here, so I don't expect any changes or any of that to come up, but it's part of the profession.
Front row left, Doug.
The recruiting question you're getting before, when maybe what you're doing recruiting wise, like next week, is somewhat limited because we might be trying to win a national championship, isn't that a good pitch too? Like, hey, if we're not seeing you as much, we're kind of busy doing this thing. How much does winning sell in recruiting like that?
I think it's huge. Because this week everybody's on the road, we're not. And even talking to recruits this week and last night, I said, I apologize, we're not going to be able to see you this week. And almost everyone to a person said, "No, it's a good problem to have, Coach. We're glad you're playing in that championship game. We get it." And that's why you put so much work into recruiting leading up to this point. You know, we recruit these kids so early on that the relationships are there, and then we'll do everything we can next week to get out there and hustle around and see these guys. But yeah, I mean, certainly being in this spot is huge credibility recruiting.
What you guys did against Michigan the past 2 years, what you did offensively last year, what you're doing offensively this year. We know the defensive improvement is such a big part of why this team is so good. But with what you've done offensively since you've been here, do you have to do that to be great in college football now? The pressure that your offense can put on opponents, we got to find a way to score with these guys somehow, not just to be good on offense, but to be a team that has a chance to win it all. Must you be great and dynamic and high-flying in offense these days?
Well, I think it definitely helps. I think it's important when you start playing in games like this to play complementary football. And I think if you look back at this game, there were times where, early on, they were moving the ball on us pretty good, but we were going shot for shot. And then, they held to a field goal. They got a turnover in the red zone. We're scoring, and then we go up a couple scores. They have to start throwing it more, and now it's advantage us. And there wasn't the 50-50 mix. And I think when you play complementary football like that, it really helps. If you're dominant on one side of the ball, you set yourself up, for getting beat if you're not on both sides of the ball. But if you want to, make a run at this thing, like you said, you have to be great. And that's the focus, and so it's only good if you continue to do it week in and week out. So you come out and lay an egg, then you put yourself at risk. So I think not only on offense, but it's important to be in all three phases.
And I know you're not able to reflect on stuff while you're in the heart of it, but when you see your players and maybe your players with their families, like for instance when they're coming out, you guys are coming out of the stadium in Michigan on Saturday, and everybody's there with their parents, and can you appreciate that like when this is like living history of Ohio State right now, this era of Ohio State football and beating Michigan like this and what you guys are doing? What do you think when you see those players and those families being part of this Ohio State era?
That's hard to explain. And when I see it, it's as good of a feeling as you could possibly have as a person. And to think about the time that we put into this thing to see that, and then quickly to think about what this means in the history and tradition of this game, and look at really what's gone on the last couple of years in this game, it's very, very humbling. Again, now's not the time to think about that, and the minute I start thinking about that, we go right back to focusing on what's going on right now, and I think there's time to sit back on that. But when you look at what's been done in the past and what's been done this past year, the year before in that game, it's very humbling.
And right behind him, Bill.
Right. You said on the conference call you were on Sunday about your three interior offensive linemen, you thought those three guys were maybe the best in the country. I know you like all five of your guys, but about those three in particular, Josh, Jonah, and Wyatt, what makes you say something like that?
Well, I just think that they're, first off, their approach to the game is off the charts. They understand stuff, they communicate, they're tough, they're good in the run game, they're good in the pass game, they finish guys. If you follow them around during the game, it's just amazing the stuff that they do and the finishes and the knockdowns that they get during the game. And, they're the tip of the spear in our offense. And everything goes through those guys, and their approach has been off the charts.
You've talked a lot about run game diversity, having a lot of different stuff in there. How much does the skill set, maybe it's a silly question, the skill set of your offensive line impact that? And when you have three interior guys who appear to be very athletic on top of all the other things you just mentioned, how much does that do for your offense?
No, it's huge. It's huge because it allows you to do so many things. Their ability, a lot of those guys last year spent a lot of time in pass protection, because that's what we did last year, really. And then now to see the transition of the run game and the ability to do both, that goes to speak to Coach Stud and what they're doing in that offensive line room.